Savan, Kotecha, Fat Max Jesus, and Rickard Göransson are the songwriters for Husavik, the Oscar-nominated song from Eurovision Song Contest. I'm Riley Chow of Gold Derby. Savan, I want to start with you. You say that you like to start songs with a melody as opposed to lyrics. So how did you approach the melody to this one?
Well, actually, for this one, we kind of just talked themes, I guess, right, guys?
Yep.
And sort of just went back and forth on like melody and lyrics. But Max actually had some lyrics at the start of it, luckily, or at least while the melody was happening. So we all sort of went back and forth structuring the melody till that felt right. But a lot of the words from sort of the first draft of melody were still there in the chorus and things like that.
Yeah, this is this was a little bit different than starting a song like when we usually work, because we already knew that it was going to be in the movie, in the scene. So that gave like a starting point to both lyric and melody.
Yeah, we had like lyrical direction sort of from the story. So we knew whatever melody was there had to sort of hit certain points of what Sigrid's character arc was.
I understand that the song "In the Mirror" by Demi Lovato, or at least she sings it, that's in the film, that was an early contender for the climactic song. How did that work? Did you just go through, were you pitching the idea to a bunch of songwriters and seeing who came back with the best, or what was
that one? I basically pitched a small group of songwriters in my sort of circle. And there's a guy named Jürgen Nelson who wrote that song. And originally what we were talking about for this song, I was like, well, Jürgen's the best guy for that, and he came up with that song, but lyrically and thematically didn't really fit for what this needed to be. But it worked for that other scene. So yeah, there was a minute when it was, me and David Dopkins and everyone were figuring out what exactly what she needs to say, where that was like, maybe it's this one, and he could just change the lyrics. But this song came up and sort of just felt perfect.
Something I think I never really understand with musicals is how the musical numbers are not necessarily written by the writer, director, that kind of thing, because it seems like they're so impactful to the story. So important. So I'm wondering, when you get the script for Eurovision Song Contest or any other film, like what does it actually say on the page in terms of, the gap that you have to fill?
I don't know if the rest of the guys have experience with this, but when I've been doing this, sometimes there'll be like, I'm working on a musical film right now, and sometimes the writer would just write sort of lyrics, but they don't expect you to stick to that lyric. It's just what they want this song to say, basically. This one, it wasn't like that. This was just insert song here. They had a few titles like Coolin' with the Homies and Ya Ya Ding Dong, which were titles that Will Ferrell and Andrew Steele really liked and thought, oh, this would be funny. It could be called something like that. But the challenge with this one was really, we're just going off of what the character, what she wanted to say,
Adding to that is also, I remember Savan, when he introduced the project to us, it was also like, obviously we worked before and written pop songs together, and he's like, we should treat this as a tribute to Eurovision. So let's write the best possible melodies and best possible songs for this movie. Even though some of the names might be Ya Ya Ding Dong or whatever it is, like let's contribute with our melodies and our kind of work to it and make it as good as possible, so they're like credible songs. And that's kind of that was another starting point.
Yeah, when I hear people talk about Husavik, the song, it seems like everybody can't believe how good it is, because they are kind of expecting something more along the lines of, yeah, ding dong. So how did you decide like how funny to make the song?
We knew it was going to be a comedy movie, right? So we needed like we had the humor element in it already from the beginning, but then there were all these like complications in, or like in Sigrid's story, she was facing just like hardships, and that needed to shine through as well, although like at the same time trying to have it fit in this comedy movie. But the like the seriousness and the comedy sort of balanced each other out quite naturally.
Yeah,
somehow.
I think being like honest to her character was sort of what made it a little easier in a way, was because that is what Sigrid would say. Sigrid would talk about the whales and you know what I mean, and the seagulls. That seemed to be what Sigrid's character was. So yes, she was going through all these emotions, and she was so frustrated with that Lars couldn't understand that all she wanted was him and to have a nice life back in Husavik. She still would say that, in at least to us, she would say it in that way that we said, that it said in the song, you know what I mean? And I think that, like, so it was really, I think, staying true to the character, if that made sense, made it a little easier.
Yeah, I want to ask about that whale line, because I think I actually misinterpreted it initially, whereas I thought you were saying that the whales are gentle people, maybe like a bit of a translation thing. But are you actually talking about how the people in Husavik are gentle and thus the whales can live there?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly the common misinterpretation of it. But people forget the line that comes after, which is in my hometown, because they're gentle people in my hometown. So you got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you go about incorporating the Icelandic lyrics?
Google Translate. and
Arnthor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's onto her, right? It was sending like how to pronounce stuff. And I heard we got some of it wrong from an Icelandic person the other day.
Yeah.
We tried. I think Husavik will hopefully forgive us, I hope.
What was the timeline on making this song? Because I guess, Savan, you'd be working on kind of a bunch of songs on the album, but I'm wondering, like, how long did this one specifically take?
Oh, it was some weeks. There's like, how many versions you say, Max? It was like 60 something versions?
60 plus versions at least that I have.
A lot of that was production versions, but like, I think to get the songwriting part, it was probably, what do you think, like a week or two? There was probably like a week break where David Hopkins was sort of living with it and then came back with some story ideas.
Yeah, so the song from start to finish was sort of done, like the writing of it, but then it was production and some lyric details and like how much Icelandic do we use.
Yeah, we went back and forth on that.
Stuff like that. But so yeah, a couple of weeks, like 3 weeks maybe. And then also it was like we made it what it was, and then we had to sort of hold while they were making the movie, filming the scenes, like shooting everything, and just like, is it going to be able to stay like this now, or do we have to go back and change it? So I guess it was a little bit undecided whether it was
for the scene, I guess.
Yeah.
Right, depending on
a beautiful story there too, Savan, that you told us about how when they heard the song, how it kind of it changed the script a little bit.
Yeah, they changed it gave them sort of the ammunition to have a dramatic ending rather than this sort of comedic ending that they were planning originally.
Yeah, I read that it was climactic in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys have actually already won the Society of Composers and Lyricists Award for Best Original Song, which is basically the Screen Actors Guild equivalent for original songs in films. We haven't seen the ceremony posted online so far, so I'm wondering what you kind of said in your acceptance speech and what that meant to you.
Wow, yeah, that was a pretty amazing show. They very well put together, and it was fun. You were staying up late, Max, in the middle of the night, and we were both on it because I'm LA based, so for me it wasn't super late, but it was so much fun to accept an award. Even like everything that's happened around this song has been truly amazing, and I'm so happy and thankful, and especially with these guys, like my favorite people. but it's amazing to get recognized for that song or this song.
I was really, I didn't know what to say, like being surrounded by those people who were at that award show and the other people, the recipients, and like it was just, my mind was so blown. I think I just hollered like for a minute, like, oh, this really happened. Because like sitting down writing this song and just like watching it go, like watching the film slowly happen, and then it actually making like release date on Netflix, that was a surprise in itself. And like I didn't, there were no awards in my future look at this song whatsoever. So that was it just caught me off guard straight up.
Yeah, I think if it had been up to me, you guys would have a couple of Oscars already for those back-to-back Ellie Goulding songs, "Love Me Like You Do" and "Still Falling for You." What's your relationship with the Oscars and this whole process?
Well, it's a new relationship. That's for sure. So we're still in the honeymoon phase. But it's been amazing. They've been so great, and it's so exciting. I mean, growing up watching the Oscars, which is like the holy grail of award shows and entertainment. I think it's so funny because like music people like always idolize movie people, and I've noticed the more I've worked in films, it's sort of the other way around for them. They like music. They think music people are super cool. They're like, no, you're film people. We write 3 minutes of sound. You guys write like story. It's like it's. So, to me, as someone who loves the movie industry, it's just unbelievable, and the show, I've used the show as inspiration for most of my life, So, yeah, to be a part of it now is crazy.
So I don't know if a day goes by that I don't hear at least one of your songs, either on the radio or listening to it myself. Definitely for Savan and Rickard. Fat Max Jesus, I feel like you're a bit harder to Google. So could you give us some background on, what songs we've heard you, what we know you from, and how you came up?
I'm not really sure you have heard any songs before. Mainly up to here, I've mainly made death metal and obscure Swedish hip hop. At least that's been released. But then a few years ago, I got into this circuit of like friends who make pop music, and I've started doing that as well. I haven't released very much at all. So I don't know. There's probably nothing you've heard, I think. That's my short answer. We all three of us are part of the same songwriting circle, and I'm a little bit like late. I'm the latest addition to it. You might say. I'm the new guy.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm the new guy, but I also know some of the people in this circle since growing up and having played like, so Shellback is one of the main guys who brought me into this circle, and we had like a hardcore metal band in our teens growing up, and then for some weird reason he left the band and went to Stockholm and started making pop songs, and I don't know why, but now I kind of do. Now that I've 15 years later or so joined forces back again.
I'll ask one more. Do you have any interesting Will Ferrell stories? Because he is also the lead producer on this film, very hands-on, I imagine, at collaborations with you, especially Savan.
Yeah. He's just, no particular story other than he's just the nicest guy. He's like puts you at ease right away. He's aware that he's Will Ferrell and how what that means to those around him, I think. But he's just the sweetest man, and we had a really fun time and a lot of laughs in the studio, doing different takes, trying different things out. So yeah, and he's become a pal. So it was just a good time all around. It was just such a wonderful experience, to be honest. It's something I'll never forget. And the Oscar nomination to me is obviously very exciting, but I'm also, for me personally, having Eurovision in my world, you know, after being so involved, having it in my world for another month is just wonderful. You know, because if we didn't get it, it was sort of the end of all the awards and nominations. So it'd have been like, oh, no more Eurovision in my life, you know? So it's nice to have the lovely people of Netflix and David Dobkins and everyone to help make that movie still sort of in your email box and things like that, you know?
All right. Well, thanks very much for taking the time to chat, and best of luck at the Oscars.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us.